Hello, welcome to day one of week 5 of split 1 of the 2020 OPL. I am Nick Boy Richardson, and I am so excited for today. It is the OPL's signature dish. It is the painting challenge. Oh my goodness, but I can't do it alone. As usual, I am joined by Spawn, Skimmy, and Rusty, but we also have the special guest of Jubes, the original OPL Bob Ross. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, it's good to be back. I've missed your face.
I missed your unprofessionalism. Because literally 10 seconds before we go on air, you casually stand up and just start walking towards the door. And everyone's like, dude, the cameras are about to go live.
I just like to, well, first of all, you've got it covered, the unprofessionalism, so that's a good job.
Thank you.
But I just like to make everyone feel at home, and I think everyone enjoyed the fact that it's just much more friendly. I'm just like a housewife here, you know.
Ready to bake some dishes.
As you can see from my apron.
Well, it's good to have you back, boys. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a good week. I'm looking forward to the middle of the week or the middle of the league to see really where things are at. Repeat the round robin.
Rusty, how are you?
I'm bored. I've been so bored. I'm waiting for study to start. So I've just been sitting at home playing games, and I've hit that point where I don't want to play video games anymore.
Oh, no.
Obviously,
That's a tough life, dude.
luggage still hasn't arrived from
It
Queensland?
just arrived.
Just arrived?
Yeah.
Oh, it did arrive.
Yeah,
So
finally.
your razors and stuff
Remember that
are in
massive-
Sydney? That's good to know.
Remember that massive storm where the wind was sideways?
Yeah.
That was when it arrived.
Imagine,
No.
imagine having that problem. Everything's fine, I've got a job, I'm all good, everything's good. I'm just bored, I play too much games.
I know, it's terrible. It's
terrible
also
life.
like, you and I are wearing the same shirt, and I don't even want to stand next to you because I feel bad about myself because it's just not fair at all. But what isn't fair is that some teams aren't as good as other teams. Who would have thought that in a competitive format? Let's take a look at the schedule at the standings so far, because we are, of course, mid-split. Chiefs still undefeated, still number 1 with 8 wins. Legacy behind, with only 1 loss to their name. It's then Direwolves, Order, Avant, Pentanet.gg, Gravitas, and Mammoth. Jubes, are there any surprises on that board for you?
I wouldn't say that there's too many surprises. That was what I've been raving about on social media. If anyone follows me, I say that.
They don't.
I thought the Chiefs were a little bit underrated, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're living up to my expectations, and everything else looks relatively how I thought it would play out.
Do you have the receipts for these tweets? Because I feel like that's just something you could say after you see a scoreboard where they're undefeated.
I'm an OPL mercenary now. Whoever pays me the most, that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, well, let's take a look at the games that we are going to be seeing today in between the main event, which of course is the painting. Game 1, Avant versus Chiefs. Game 2, Order take on Legacy. It's then Mammoth versus Gravitas, and finally Pentanet.gg against Direwolves.
What's the game of the day?
Are we excited?
Like, what are you excited about?
For sure, don't look at me and ask that
Who are
question.
you excited for?
He's looking at me and asking that question.
Yeah, what are you excited for?
Gravitas and Mammoth.
Why are you excited for that?
Because, it's a good storyline. Mammoth get their first win potentially, or Gravitas propel themselves into the, not gauntlet anymore, but the playoff race.
They get to tie with other teams if they win, potentially.
There you go, but obviously the Legacy and Order match is going to be
I'll
a
go with
belter.
Gravitas and Mammoth
Might
as well.
be good.
Banger.
Here we go.
Legacy Order might be good.
It could be.
We just don't know which order shows up. Because they have to win one of the games this week, and they play Chiefs and Legacy, so one of them's going to be sick.
Yeah, it could be the order that got a 7,000 gold lead versus Legacy, or it could be the order that lost a 7,000 gold lead versus Legacy. You just never know, right?
What if we get both?
Not again.
Well, before we get into the first game, we need to get the painting underway. Jubes, please come up here. When we did the call out for the paintings, we had a few stipulations and rules. Please come in.
Come in.
The first, most important one, of course, no nips. Most of you broke that rule. Then Jake wanted to paint a LinkedIn picture. So we've got Carl. So Carl, congratulations, you're going to be painted. But the second one that came in, we picked the, may I?
Yep.
Just open. It was a bit of that. So it's just one of these, and this is like the Infinity Gauntlet, and then this is just some random dude's mouth. Turns out that random dude.
I actually thought he was having a dig at my braces.
Were you
'Cause
gonna,
I did get
were you gonna
braces.
punch him?
I've noticed them, but they look cool. Why would I mock you for your
I
braces?
saw Juve shaping up. I thought Nick was coming through a wall.
Ready to go.
I thought there was a legitimate problem.
You know when they're about to attack.
Hang on a minute. Never. Hang on a minute.
But it turns out that the person, which we kind of knew at the beginning anyway, but the person who was in that picture doesn't actually watch the OPL. It was just a friend of someone who watched the OPL. So we thought that we would include someone on the set who does actually watch. So I've got the other three runners up.
I was hoping you was going to be Tally, Juve's partner in crime.
And you get to pick which one it is. So, do you want to paint Lady Dubsy? Do
I do know Lady Dubsy, so we'll keep that one in mind.
you want to paint In Search of Shoe?
I do know In Search of Shoe.
Or do you want to paint Do Gon Doo Doo?
Surely you paint PogChamp.
I mean,
That is a pog. That is
It's a
PogChamp,
pog,
right?
yeah.
Is it PogChamp?
it's a PogChamp.
Surely.
Have we vote? Everyone's voted on.
It's a PogChamp.
Sorry,
Sorry.
you devoted losers. Congratulations, PogChamp. Do Gon Doo Doo. Okay, do you want to get started on this one?
Yeah, right.
I'll get started on the LinkedIn profile, and then throughout the rest of the evening, we will be joined by the gentleman on the couch. Jake, you were most excited about the LinkedIn profile. Is there any guiding thought that I should put into this before I start?
See, I have a problem with this segment, and it was
Yeah.
my problem with the initial segment. Is like, I can't paint on your painting.
Because you're precious?
Because like, it's like Picasso going to kindergarten. He just like has no idea like where to start.
Yeah.
So like, as soon as your brush touches your canvas, I refuse to participate.
So you're saying basically I taint this
Yes.
as soon as I touch it?
Correct.
What if I just do like the bookshelf in the background and I leave a Carl-shaped hole?
No,
And then
because
you
then you're
fill the
dictating
hole.
what Carl has to look like. So it's not my interpretation of Carl at that point, Nick.
Yeah.
That is your interpretation of the hole that Carl should fill. And even that is too many guidelines and restrictions on my artistic
What do you want?
capabilities.
Hey, what do you want? Do you
I want
want
to paint my own picture. Look, the only person behind you guys that is recognizable is Atlas. And I would say, at a certain point, you can't even see which one is Atlas and which one is a painting anymore.
This is clearly Ellen DeGeneres. How dare you?
You can't say that. That looks like Atlas.
How does that not look like Atlas?
I would say
The
that's
beard's
the
way too black.
I mean,
that's the worst one that was done on the night.
that was not
Chat
true.
agrees.
Chat did not
back
agree.
me up.
Chat did not
Back
agree.
me up, chat.
Can I get a kappa in the chat if you agree?
Okay, so let's get started.
All right.
Before we get into game number one,
Where do I put this?
because well, you can stick. I think I've got blue tack here.
Thank you.
There's blue tack somewhere. Here, I'll give you some Carl's blue tack.
Just
already
be
off to a great
gentle with
start.
Carl, please.
Yeah, Carl got
I don't
a
like
bit
how
abused
he's
there,
really
eh?
aggressive.
He got yanked
Carl's
off.
fine. We'll just go to his LinkedIn profile if the picture breaks. Okay, Jake, you're just gonna have to deal with what I do to Carl.
Okay. You better not break Carl.
So I'll help Jews with the PogChamp. and
Poggers.
You get the LinkedIn.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Yeah, no worries. Too easy.
I need a brush.
So
Give me,
my
you get to do nothing.
I'm
we
just
have
gonna
water?
watch.
Yeah, I got water here.
you got water there.
Yeah.
So my issue, well, you need a lot of black.
Yeah, I was gonna start with.
Wow.
I was gonna start with just black outline.
Yeah.
Why don't you do the face and then just fill in the
Yeah,
rest?
I want to do the black first because if the black then encroaches on the painting, you're going to get really dark smudges. I would do, you paint from light to dark, generally.
That's called shading
Oh, yeah, okay.
in the artistic world.
Okay.
Now, remember the last time we did this, I really got skin tones wrong.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
guessing
I don't
that
remember
Carl
that at all.
is yellow with a bit of brown is kind of his complexion.
Now I'm
Are
gonna
you
suit-
sure you got skin tones wrong? I think your zombie looks great.
That's actually
Wait,
terrifying.
she-
eh?
yeah. Okay.
It's like
look.
the shotgun makeup thing from the Simpsons.
It is.
And where did the
Exactly what it
nose go, Nick?
The nose is lost.
There was a terrible accident just before she sat for the painting.
I actually have a
I'll believe.
legitimate question.
Yep.
How do I make that face color? Is it a bit of this
That's
color?
what
with-
I'm saying.
I would
Yellow?
say that's primarily...
It's like it's like all face color. It's like yellow, red,
No.
and a lot of white.
I'll try these two. Maybe.
Just whatever color you choose, Jews, I'm committed to the same color.
We'll just commit.
Yeah.
And then if
Just
they,
make enough of it
Just make a
that
lot of
you
it.
can like halve it and put some lighter color in it because obviously you want to have like this area to be able to be lighter.
Now, Jake, I want you to start guiding me Because,
Guiding you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I want to make sure that you're happy
Put the
when
brain
you come
push
up here.
down. Step away from the pain. Okay, roster number 1. I've been told I have to do
Going to
rosters
rosters.
before I guide you. I want you to start with Carl's suit. No, that is definitely not suit colour. Roster number 1 is going to be Avant Gaming, I hope. Or the Chiefs. Tell me which one it is. It is Avant Gaming. It's going to be Dracu in the top lane. Lisa in the jungle, Chaz it up in the mid lane. And it's going to be Junkrat and Appy playing today. Max is their coach. No Violet going to be playing against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
This Avant Gaming lineup has looked not that bad, Rusty. They took the not that bad win, actually, over Gravitas.
And in my brief conversations with Avant, it seems like they're trying to get Violet to be more comfortable on the stage. As a new player, he's very young, and you'll note with the teams that they often put him against, they weren't the top of the table teams. So the slow process into getting Violet comfortable into the roster does seem to be in process.
But I wonder, in your opinion, because to me, the only person that seems to have star power on this lineup, maybe with Lisa, is actually Gunkrab. So they're experimenting with a very dangerous role, in my opinion, against the lesser teams, because if you do lose one of those games, it kind of is a double-edged sword, right? Yeah. They're the games you're expected to win to make playoffs.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, that experimentation is the double-edged sword, and I'm curious to see how it pans out, as we are ready for the second roster in this game as well. Spawn, is this interesting? I feel like Nick can't hear us. He's too busy paging. Let's go through the Chiefs. Tian in the top lane, Croc in the jungle, Claire mid lane with Katsuri and Korea CK in support. Croc's been a monster, Jay.
Yeah, he certainly has. I mean, his Italy's performance against Legacy was certainly one to watch out for. Skimmy and I actually were watching that VOD again last night. He seemed to have a big performance there, Skim.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at the level difference, the fact that he was just able to single-handedly carry the game on an Italy, a champion that we just weren't expecting to have that much of an impact in the jungle.
First one of the season, right?
First one of the season, he's just flexing his might, the final piece of the puzzle for this Chiefs roster. And right now, very scary team to go up against. You're trying to think, do we try and target them in certain roles? Because their champion pool seems to be pretty large right now.
Yeah, it certainly does. However, guys, that is going to be our game number 1. We'll be with you guys just after this quick break as we get into the Macca's Champ Select.
Well, let's kick it off with the very first game of the day. Avant Gaming taking on the Chiefs. It's an all-blue affair today on the Rift. The undefeated Chiefs taking on Avant Gaming, looking to try and represent that not that bad hashtag. They want to get themselves in. They want to try and be a little bit creative to maybe try and throw Chiefs a bit of a wrench.
I think at this point, is it anywhere between 6th and 7th that gets the not that bad title?
Everyone's playing for different occasions here. Actually, this is an interesting point very early on to this draft now, Rusty. We are on 10-4, so you've seen the changes to Barmy, Cinder, Sunfire. You know how strong that can be, especially in the likes of Ornn, who's taken away. But what I want to highlight is we praised Katsuri so much for how strong he is as an AD carry. He's only played Misfortune and Aphelios, both already taken away.
Yeah, he's only really been playing the meta ADCs with very little focus towards him. But of course, Katsuri has been the quiet achiever from the Chiefs. Even in their last bout against Legacy, he had a very good showing with all the pressure and focus put towards him. Now that Ornn ban is a pretty big deal as well. One of the few tanks that exist on Summoner's Rift has been taken off. And with the Barmy's change, my speculation is always that tanks will be a prevalent feature. And with the first pick here from Dragku, something that is quite good at dealing with those tanks, has a very good laning phase against them as well. Loves that Conqueror and a bit of a brawl. The set will be doing wonders here.
Absolutely. And obviously the major focus on that is the fact that his ultimate will do splash damage to those around it based on the target he's chosen and their bonus maximum health. So definitely looking to try and find a target and slam down. Dragku has had a big priority towards the Ornn. Big reason why Chiefs have denied that away, and this will be a jungle champion that Croc is very comfortable on. It is the Elise.
Yeah, straight towards the Elise. Blind pick, first rotation here from the Chiefs. Very aggressive choice for them. Elise, of course, a very big gank champion. Opens the likes of the Renekton's and whatnot that can be coupled with that. Not just in top lane, of course, against the set, but in mid lane if they choose to flex those. So high ganking jungler. Opens the floor. Where do they want to go here, Chiefs? I'd still like to see bot lane as one of their primary ports of call, but with the Lucian that's locked in, doesn't necessarily go into just the AD carry position. It can be everywhere.
You mentioned mid lane, top lane. It's very flexible in that capacity to give yourself some attack damage to this roster to round yourself out, give you some mobility, especially to try and juke out what you can see from Avant Gaming so far, be it 3 members looking to find a target and definitely looking to execute. You're talking towards that mid and jungle interaction. Going to be very scary to try and go toe-to-toe against the LeBlanc and a Lee Sin.
Yeah, we've got the LeBlanc, we've got the Lee Sin. Lisa on one of his staple champions. We'll ignore the misplay that he had a couple weeks ago with the flash kick, getting someone to safety because he's still a very well-known Lee Sin player. Chiefs now responding kind with the 3rd pick of their own. If we assume that that Lucian is going into a solo lane, most likely going to be taking the LeBlanc matchup now, and they go for the Aatrox into the set. Aatrox, not as much seen, I would say. Still a strong champion in its own right, has a lot of sustain and starts to scale up nicely against the likes of a set.
The AD bans continue to come out here as we look to whittle down that pool just a little bit more. Gunkrab has been quite known for flexing his might with a different roster. He showed us the Ziggs last week when they combined that with the Karma for a hard shove wave. Didn't work out in their favor, but he's definitely not afraid to dive deep into that bag of goodies and come up with something new.
Yeah, Bard taken off the board. AD carry, Senna potentially removed here as well. Senna, the reason that we're seeing a lot more of that is because Senna Tahm Kench is now a lane where the AD carry plays the Senna Tahm Kench farms and has a very good experience. I think Senna is one of the crutch picks in regards to that style of play, being a ranged ADC that goes a support item. We'll see where they choose to go here in response now, however, AV, because they're the type of team that can play that. Gunkrab plays it all. They could do Ziggs Tahm Kench if they wanted and do something similar. We never know with them. As we await the pick on the red side of the map from the Chiefs before AV get to reveal that strategy.
Lissandra locked in. We've seen Claire play it at once the split so far.
That puts Lucian at ADC, which means that AV can respond in kind with whatever they would like, and they've just gone straight for the Xayah Rakan with no hesitation there. So strong bottom lane. We've seen a lot of Rakan from teams like Legacy without the Xayah. I always prefer them together. They're always stronger together.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs do get to, of course, look at that and pick what they would like as a counter. If it's Engage, you know, the Leona could work for them, but they've got the Elise, they've got the Lissandra for those possibilities. So it seems like Disengage and Mage is going to be the choice down there.
Morgana's locked in here for Career CK, another new support to the role. He's mainly being focused on those tank supports. He showcased us Bard and to good effect as well. I'm sure you were happy about seeing that performance, but he's denied Morgana online. That Black Shield going to be quite crutch for preventing the all-in CC that may come across onto Katsuri, who's actually been practicing this Lucian a fair bit. I've seen a few of his games, so looking forward to seeing whether or not that practice comes to fruition here.
Yeah, getting to see practice come into effect. Katsuri is one of those players where generally you see him practice something, he will be very well refined on it, and performances do show through on stage as well. Very good player in that regard. No real differences when he comes onto stage. Nerves don't seem to pressure this man too heavily, at least in results.
So as we get ourselves ready for game number 1 of week 5, it is the middle of the split. The teams have settled into their positions and we're cracking on with this one. You're looking at this roster from Avant. Do they have enough aces up their sleeve to try and bring something to the Chiefs, do you think, Rusty?
It's definitely hard to say for certain. The Chiefs still a powerhouse roster. They've shown they have what it takes to take on even the best in the OPL. And it should always be a surprise if AV are able to put on a good display here today, but that's what they need to do as a team. They need to step up to the plate and show that even against the best, they have what it takes, because a 3-5 scoreline is not enough for AV 5 weeks in.
Coach Dale on standby. You're coming into week 5, patch 10.4. We had a brief interaction, I believe, in one of your streams one time about sort of how that impacts maybe your team's roster and sort of the champion select. You're looking at this one, looks pretty comfortable across the board so far.
Yeah, I mean, we're mainly just playing for a 3-5 pick, half a counter pick, and we were prepared for all avenues, but they're definitely not a team to be underestimated. So as long as our team doesn't make any early game mistakes, I feel like that we should be able to snowball our early lead and close the game out by mid.
Most often with the 3 and 5 picks as well, we see the counters towards something like a solo laner just to try and get some tempo there. But you went for the last pick for Korea CK. Is this saying that, you know, the bigger threat may actually be in their bottom lane 2v2?
No. We just thought that there's a possibility that they pick Zyra Khan. So the first rotation of pick bans was really interesting because they showed LeBlanc. And traditionally, like a lot of teams will opt to just take Lissandra there because they're afraid of Lissandra being banned. But because we have multiple champions we can play into LeBlanc, we've opted to just take the answer to set, which is guaranteed. And then because we have a priority jungler, we have the win condition off the top side of the map. And then by removing Ezreal, by removing Ezreal, the only avenue they have left, or the only AD carry they can pick, is Zyra Khan, and there's nothing they can do in this particular matchup. So we just opted for the full hard counter, lane kingdom kind of draft into snowball through objectives and end the game.
And talk to me about this new patch. So 10-4, we talked about the fact that, you know, Barmy Cinder, Sunfire Cape, they're so much stronger now, so we're kind of feeling that tanks are really going to start to dominate. Are you sort of echoing those same statements?
I think Riot's definitely leaning toward making top more relevant at the moment, and I think 10.5 patch shows that, or the preview for the 10.5 patch.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it's not enough to make top lane like a super relevant role. That's why you see a lot of tanks with Barmy Cinder, as you said. But I think from 10.5 it'll change. So 10.4, super interesting. Mostly just set Aatrox on, and then Gangplank. So.
Well, beautiful. We're going to crack on with this one. Best of luck, Seal, as always. And we'll see how this blue match takes on place. Chiefs up against Avant.
I was ready to speak about draft, but Seal answers all the questions before I could even ask.
He's a knowledgeable man.
Very
He knows what he's talking about.
man when it comes to the draft phase, and very clear that the strategies are not just prepared, they're put into action. Where a lot of the time some coaches will come in and just say, yeah, we picked these champions because we can. He'll give you a detailed reason as to why. So they went all of my questions because he's very good at answering.
So a few things to note already, Rusty, that I want to highlight from the last time that these two teams went up against each other. Lisa actually played the Rek'Sai, went 0-6-4. Didn't really have much impact in the early game, wasn't able to transition into the mid game, wasn't able to find any picks as a result. The Chiefs actually crushing that game, not losing a single tower. So it's going to be a big focus on Lisa being able to find action with that comfort pick and Lee Sin.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, both junglers are going to be looking at the impact that they can have through the early stages of this game. Lee Sin's different in that you can choose to go for early ganks, or you can choose to try and farm out for 6. If you want to go for like the Raptor Krug clear on rotation, then you may even go for a Tiamat rush just to try and get a tempo lead, which is something that the Elise doesn't necessarily get the luxury of trying to do. Now, you look at the compositions of both of these teams and what that means. I think that because Elise is a gank-heavy jungler, and a lot of the lanes just by champion select have been nullified, Lisa's best role is probably just to try and out-tempo clear in the jungle and be there for counter ganks against Croc to make sure that the lanes just continue to farm, hit 6, and then try and make the plays. The alternative to that is get kills in early, be somewhere that Croc couldn't possibly be, and then know that the nullified lanes just play safe.
Well, Chiefs are the ones on the board so far, definitely controlling the vision. You can see Croc taking the top scuttle, and their bottom side able to pick up the bottom scuttle too. So River is on lockdown right now, making it that much harder for the likes of LeBlanc and Lee Sin to try and find some love.
Yeah, so let's look at mid lane for a second as well, as Chaz does get his passive procced. One of the reasons that Lissandra is so good into LeBlanc is because of Aftershock. She cannot use her Distort to go forwards, or she is in W range, instantly procs Aftershock, removes a lot of the burst that comes out of a LeBlanc combo. However, you saw in the trade just before, she hits chains and stays out of range of Aftershock, and suddenly the trades aren't too bad. So it is a bit of a skill expression style matchup, even though it's very simple in how it could be a nullifying lane for Lissandra. Still seeing good things from Chaz.
Going to come back to the lane with the Doran's Ring, as well as the Dark Seal. Looking to try and get himself online and snowball that lane ahead. Obviously does give you that extra bit of sustain with that Corruption Pot.
Yep, it's still a teleport, however, to a cleanse that Chaz has to go to Lissandra, so still a slight edge there going to be towards Claire. Having that reset as well, bot lane having the priority in their 2v2, and Croc being on the bottom side of that map. I mean, it may not happen, but with the early jungle item, he could even consider the Drake very early just as it spawns.
Both junglers having reset. Croc already having the first upgrade online for this jungle item as the Chiefs now look to try and find some plates in the bottom side. Croc is here, he's going to utilize that vision sweeper to clear out that Warden in the try.
Yeah, Claire's missing as well, so the AV know that it could be 4 people down here. No one knows where Claire is, and he is here, so it's the correct decision from AV to back away, to respect, And eventually they have to step up to this turret. And only now, because they see Claire, can they do it safely.
This is the slow bleed you start to worry about as an Avant fan. They've been so chaotic, so aggressive in the early game, but right now showing a little bit of restraint. Not able to find much love on these initial trades. Draku is giving Tien a bit of a hard life in the top side, however, definitely flexing on that set. As a trade takes place in the mid lane. Both down to half. Desperately waiting for that level 6 to come online.
Chaz wanted to play aggressively. He could utilize the fact that Aftershock is now gone. Lisa's here at the correct time for that as well, but it would require the chains to connect, and Claire just hit 6, so not going to happen. Still playing the correct side of the map here though, Lisa, as Draku has found himself comfortably ahead as farm goes, but just lost the trade pretty badly, so
Jungle's going to meet here. Lisa's forced to dash away with that ward hop. Claire gets the shield. Claire's chasing on through right now. He's going to lock him in place. And that is the first blood. 6 minutes in, level 6 online. Def is done.
Yeah, Lisa goes very far into the enemy jungle without mid lane priority or ability to assist. Claire gets there well and truly first, as Croc just finds him and wins that 1v1 trade anyway. Very curious decision there from Lisa. That's maybe not the moment you want to be caught on the invade. He got caught doing a camp, so even one step worse than that.
Puts him a little bit further behind now on these camp clears and his economy. Does get Claire online with a few stacks to a potential Magi's if he decides to go further into that one, but lower mana, looking to push this wave out and go for a reset.
Yeah, this Elisa's now level 6 to the 4 of Lisa, so in a very comfortable position is Croc, and definitely should not be the Tiamat build, I'd say, at this point. You want to try and rush your jungle item as fast as you can, be relevant on the map. Needs to find some way to get himself back into the game. I know it doesn't seem too significant to have just the jungler behind this much, but Elise Sin being denied level 6 by 2 whole levels to an Elise, that's pretty rough. Bottom lanes are hitting 6 right now as well. At least it just ticks 5.
Yeah, Katsuri slow pushing bottom side, denying a lot of these minions towards Gunkrab, who's been an explosive AD carry. He's come onto the scene and definitely showcased that he's not afraid to use summoners, not afraid to like jump into the fight in unconventional ways. Consistency has always been a question mark over his head, and we discussed it going into this game, the ability to sub and flex with Violet onto that roster. Can always be a bit of a rough situation. I suppose even with the support, the synergy, the communication to work that 2v2.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good for Violet is what you would say. Gunkrab still had some very good moments earlier on in the split, but it was Lisa coming down there a lot of the time as well, trying to make their bot lane a win condition, and that doesn't seem to be something that was focused towards too much in this game. Lisa now in the enemy jungle again, assumes that his own red's being invaded, but it's not. So he has to leave, and if he wants a red buff, he's going to have to, oh god, he might just be dead.
He is just getting caught in any direction he turns. There are members of the Chiefs ready to pounce on. Tien rotating from the top side, Claire coming through mid. And they say thank you very much for going to the Rift Herald, but this makes it an easy transition. They may now look to go for another fight as Croc down to half. He jumps onto Chaz. He's looking for the kill. The Rift Herald is still getting rowdy, acting as a member. Draku gets huge. He slam dunks hard. Claire flashes away, denying Draku a double. Tension on the Rift.
Chaz puts on some fancy footwork there to make sure that the kills go down. He dies with both summoner spells up, however, Chaz unfortunately may have had the means to get himself out alive, but nonetheless, they get the trade, they get something going their way, where it has felt all too helpless only 9 minutes in.
Chaz is my focus as an Avant fan here. Look at the previous matchup. He was the one that drove it home with the amount of damage, the one with the amount of gold, the farm, the ability to try and carry out. He did actually run the quirky Zillion pick to try and survive the onslaught, knowing that these team fights are Chiefs favoured. He wants to make sure that LeBlanc can get online and start really deleting members to make those situations a 4v5.
He's also the man that will bring out the likes of an Echo mid and try and get those late game carries as well, which he was definitely putting in a lot of work, even in their losses. Chaz always a person to look towards. Now Lisa, the person we have to start looking towards, just dying once again. On the wrong side of the jungle, collapsed on by a team that did not have priority in AV, watching as the Chiefs did. Chaz unfortunately gets repelled on his Distort, but goes back in, Mimic Distorts, and is able to actually navigate the fight pretty well. But unfortunately dies there, as mentioned, with both summoners up. Could very easily have flashed that wall if he wanted, and found himself out of life. May have even netted them the second kill actually on Claire, as that was his means of escape in the same direction that you would expect Chaz would have went. But that's VOD review. It's neither here nor there now.
situation he'll be happy with, I'm sure, despite being down 2k gold. Gets the kill on. Makes it 1-3 so far, and if they can get Dragu ahead in this situation, he can definitely be a monster. We've seen what Set can do when he can land those wombo combos in tight spaces.
At least he just clears the Grom, ward hops his way out as well. Uses one of his awards just to recall to safety. This is, I mean, I think it's fair to say 10 minutes, 40 seconds in, you can see the gold difference doesn't seem that significant. But this is already rough for AV, unless they find an opportunity to swing Map's momentum back towards them. You know, they've got a pretty well farmed mid laner. They've got a kill on their top laner who's match farm of his opponent here of TN. I think they're the two people that you have to look towards to try and really help Lisa get himself back in the game. Right now, Croc hunting top lane. And Lisa's slowly going to get his way up here as best he can. Will he get here in time is the question.
Well, Claire's going to utilize that summoner spell. He's going to teleport in under this tower as it crashes on in. Tien going to start things off with looking to try and get the aggro. No, it's going to be cleared. It juggles it, takes one, takes three in the end. Action in the bottom side, however. The Dark Binding will not land onto Gunkrab, who is very low. That's going to be Katsuri flashing on in to make things happen. He is within one auto attack range. Happy cannot find it. And the Chiefs taking wins all across the map now, pushing in. They're going to get this tower down, Rusty.
Bot lane was on that nice edge, but they still find themselves victorious regardless. The cleanse not being a heal or an ignite there for Appy does make the difference. Now Chaz, in an attempt to just use his distort, gets chunked out, teleports in from Dragku, who has the ultimate. Lisa has the kick, but it's pretty spooky to run into that trio, isn't it? So they are going to back away. And that just means that Chiefs everywhere on the map, like you mentioned, just comprehensively win now. They even get teleports on the disengage.
And we're talking about Dragu being that factor, having that kill online, the ability to try and keep even in CS and maybe be that factor going into the mid game for those team fights. But you're feeling sorry for Lisa, you've highlighted it, but you're feeling even worse for Gunkrab right now because he's down roughly 30 CS, possibly more, if you take into account the fact that there's a kill online for Katsuri. And if you let Katsuri get ahead, he tends to close things out.
I mean, this is the makings of the #1 team against the rank 5-6 team here in Avant. These are kind of the expectations you would have coming into a game like this 12 minutes in. But still feels like it's just a complete shutout in terms of play style, and one of the key differences there is almost just, it's not even individual skill, it's control of the map. You know, Korea CK is roaming level 3 because they get some tempo. They're roaming at level 2 basically to get themselves a Scuttle Crab because they have map tempo. This is all set up through draft from Seal and all the detail that he was able to give us during the coach's interview. And you see all of those 1%ers really add up quickly. And that's why they're our top team right now.
Lisa showing some love towards the top side, trying to catch out Tien. That will mean that Croc will be able to take this Drake uncontested. 4k gold difference right now, Rusty, and what are you looking at here for Avant as a sign of life to try and get themselves back into this one? Are we looking to sort of scale up, get a couple of items online if it gets to that stage, and maybe fight around a Baron?
Yeah, I think that a team fight is probably the best thing that they would be hoping to find. Probably not an even 5v5 at this point, though. Gold lead stretching a little bit too far at this point. First item completions will come up second compared to their opponents. Right now they're looking at top lane for Tien.
They started off with the charm. They got the binding there as well. It's going to connect. The damage is coming on through. As Appy tanks tower down until he nearly falls on through. And this monster just does not fall on down. He takes the wrath of 3 members and says, you can't do to me what I've just done to you. And they've invested so much into topside that they're just bleeding and bottom.
Yeah, they're still going to dive him. They're going to commit to this. We'll see how they go. Appy with a good flash does survive. Lisa's just going to barely walk away as well. But the cost is so high, isn't it, Skimmy? Bot lane turret was already dead. That was a re-dive because the first one fails. And now Croc's mid. Korea CK's mid. And they're going to pressure for a mid lane outer turret on top of all of that. It's just a complete shutout like mentioned before here by the Chiefs. So far ahead of their opponents around the map.
15 minutes into this one, and it is a snowball like you've never seen it before. Definitely Chiefs in the driving seat, finding value across the board. Tien doing a fantastic job of buying time and not utilizing those summoners. He's quite happy to hang on to those ones. He's got them obviously for the later stages. He realizes the impact of saving them and will do so effectively.
And you ask what is it they can do? Well, those options close more and more every second. Fighting for objectives is not possible. There's too much dead time now with no objective available on the map. So it's picks, it's vision control, it's setting up in places where you expect your opponents to go if you can. You know, something like Katsuri to the red buff. They have a ward there, but look at how well protected it is by the Chiefs as well. Getting to that red buff, they'll probably see you on the way.
Well, let's touch on that vision control, because if you look at the bottom section of that blue jungle, it's dictated by Chiefs. The rotations between mid and bot, allowing them to basically take those 2 turrets for free, uncontested. All their eggs are in that basket, and you can see that the vision from Avant right now is definitely topside focused, maybe looking towards cheeky Barons or a potential river catch.
Also, a cheaper item here for Tan going to come in with that Black Cleaver, so Chaz actually we need to watch first. He's in a bit of trouble.
He is indeed, because Korea CK is going to start things off with the support. So 1v1 on that occasion as Claire jumps in. Members of Avant disengaging. They're on the hunt. It's a 3v3 and it's soon to be a 4v3 as Katsuri's coming on in, but he might not even be able to pick up an assist nor a kill. No, he cannot. He is merely a spectator in this situations as the Chiefs crush that little skirmish in the top side.
At least it tries his best to get a trade back, but there's a stopwatch for the Morgana to nobody's surprise as well. So they're just going to survive. Now 2 to 8 in kills. Gold lead stretches again. Another tower under fire. Bot lane going to have a brawl from the looks of it, but it disengages just as quickly as it starts. What do you even say at a point like this? It just feels like AV have got no fight in the system as they're just steadily losing the game.
There are deja vu moments from when these teams first met in week 1. But we'll see how this one really went on.
I mean, you put 3 people in the same line of fire for a Morgana binding, one of them's going to connect, right? The second it hits, Croc just flashes forwards, gets the next one down with the cocoon, because you roll Duke, it's obvious where you're going to be. Cover all their bases there, the Chiefs, very well done from them. Easy 3 kills.
Like week 1, Avant unable to find a tower so far. Their only luck has been in that top side when they tried to bully out TN. They managed to pick him up, but they weren't able to take the tower with it. It is quite low, but Chiefs are controlling this map with vision, with towers down, with gold leads, and now with a Rift Herald in the pocket of Croc, who's 2 levels up to his counterpart Lisa.
And I really like the Twin Shadows purchase here actually from Korea CK. Usually you'll see a lot of Morganas rush the Zhonya's Hourglass. The reason I like the Twin Shadows is I think it's a snowball item. The reason that I think it's a snowball item is because you can place wards in the jungle and not get killed. Of course, it's on cooldown right now, so still needs to be very respectful. But you saw it used on the blue side of the map. They can just walk in as 2 people. They don't need 3 people. And when a losing team is in a losing position, they try and go to creative spots to pick you off. And so that's one of the really nice ways, in my opinion anyway, to have a countermeasure to that. As AV really wants this.
Claire is still pushing topside right now. Does have that teleport available if need be. Level 11 power spikes on those ultimates are available right now. I feel like this is a situation that is rather do or die. Gunkrab doesn't have level 11, so that's one thing to bear in mind. The Featherstorm is going to be pretty crucial. They're going to try and find some love in this mid lane. They need a tower, need something to buy some pressure, but now they're going to get collapsed on the Chiefs.
If AV lose here, it feels like they lose the game. They're looking for Claire.
They are indeed. They
disengage.
started with the dash. Turning their attention now onto Draco, who is just caught without any members nearby. That Haymaker shield won't be enough.
They're split off in many different ways. Herald also in the bottom lane. Dragon free to take, but I think they take that as the disengaged choice. Right now they get to pressure mid, they get to pressure bottom. I mean, that was it. If Chiefs won a team fight there and it was a clean team fight, I think the game's just over. Maybe not the game winning fight, but there's no way back in. AV are looking to get something, but once again, what is there to find?
Avant scurrying away like a pack of ants right now, and they wish they didn't hang around this bot side. Maybe looking for Katsuri, but he won't die today. Managing to disengage, baiting in Chaz to the remainder of this arsenal. Chiefs down to half. Gonna disengage away now.
All of these mechanics that we're seeing on display by AV from Chaz in particular is getting them almost kills. They're too far behind to actually cement those kills and secure something going their direction. That slow bleed out has definitely been put to its fullest effect right now as the lead is insurmountable almost at this point. 20 minutes into the game with Baron up as well. I don't think the Chiefs need the Baron. I think that would just be an avenue to force a team fight, and that would be their way to win the game.
Chiefs sitting on soul point. A variation of Drake's to the name so far, Cloud, Infernal, or Mountain. So padding what is already a very strong team. 2 items online for Katsuri. Compare that to 1.5 on Grown Crab, who's only now just hit level 11. And we're going to see the Trinity Force here on Dragku, so not the Black Cleaver. That's caused a bunch of confusion, toxicity online.
We have a level 8 Rakan on the other side. You know, Curious AK, Appy both very low level in this game relative to everybody else. I would rather be a Morgana with no levels than a Rakan with no levels, especially in the situation that they are in. You get to sit there and use your black shield on your allies. Rakan needs to be in the fight to engage, and there's so much AoE on the opposing side that that's a death sentence.
2 unused stopwatches on Elise and Lissandra, who does actually now have that Magi's online, so upgraded to go from 10 to 25 potentially. Bounties across the board. 4 members of the Chiefs have bounties. They need to find some kills to try and catch up in this economy. Down by 8k. They are looking for it as Gunkrab is the one to lead the charge with the Featherstorm down to sub-zero health. Utilizing that heal to try and stick around for a while. LeBlanc's going to get in there and find the first shutdown. Can they find a second? As Draco actually jukes himself. He flashes over not to land that Haymaker. They find 2. Double shutdowns, just what they needed.
Yeah, I think he was trying to predict a flash from Katsuri. It's not even up. So, nevertheless, they'll get the kill in the end. Clean or not, it doesn't matter. They do what they need to do, AV, to stay in this game. They get something back going their way. That was the only time, that was the only moment in this game that they had to really make that happen. Even though the spell shield goes on to Katsuri, because the ultimate had connected, the move speed was on. And Uppy's able to lock them all down. And then, of course, Chaz comes in first. Dragku comes in to make sure those kills are secured, where Claire is just kind of left watching in the background of this fight, not able to help his team at all. Dragku gets inside his own head, perhaps not aware of the summoner spells of the opponent ADC. But that's his means of securing it, just in case he had flash.
That's the kind of impact we want to see coming out of this set. We know how scary he is, and he showed us a little taste of what can be done. One thing I want to highlight is actually how good of a job Gunkrab's done to actually catch up in this game. He was down, what, about 30-40 CS for the majority of the first 15.
Yeah.
Now on even stakes. Working towards that Infinity Edge. Needs that second power spike, as we're now going to play that dance around Baron, which could spell the end of this game. 1 minute and 40 until Soul Point can be achieved by the Chiefs, however. So there's a few objectives that are coming up soon, a few ideas.
It's Magi's as well for Claire, and I respect that. If you ever have 10 stacks on a Dark Seal, it is almost always objectively the correct choice to go towards a Magi's Soul Stealer. And most people look at that and say it's risky, but the sell cost of that Magi's is actually so good. It's so cost efficient to just sell the item if you start dying when you have the stacks going away. So good choice here from Claire, because they have Snowball, and there's a chance it snowballs significantly harder by having that Magi's there. Baron is very easy for the Chiefs to set up around. Very easy to deny vision from their opponents with.
They're looking for Appy. They're going to start off with the Ignite, forcing him to dash away over that wall. As you say, Chiefs having all their vision so far surrounding this Baron entrance.
Yeah, I think the Ignite and Morgana ultimate there were maybe a step too far. You take the damage, you use the chunk, and you look towards getting further control with that. Bait them to come further in again. When that health's missing, it becomes even more difficult. But I think right now the Chiefs are very content to just look for those kills, as the game becomes really difficult for AV in 30 seconds from now.
No vision required in this bottom part, as the Chiefs look to prepare a siege, almost like medieval times, knocking on your door. Only inhibitors remain in the base of Avant.
Shadows are on.
Chiefs rocking and rolling with that vision control, trying to catch them out in the jungle, saying, hello, here we are, let's try and find a fight right now. Gunkrab taking out the fight already. Already used that Featherstorm. He can't re-engage. He needs lifesteal, but he doesn't have it. Croc is low. He gets suppressed. Slam dunked into 2. Dragku needs backup. He's forced to disengage away, but TN flashes in, and he hits the ground hard as they just mop up the floor, taking casualties left, right, and center, and say, the Drake, we don't need it. The inhibitor, we want it.
Yeah, TN just slaps them up there with his Q3, slams down into the faces of AV. And now with 2 dead to the 1 of the Chiefs. Yes, it's the jungler, but I don't think they'll be too concerned, as they do have... Oh, Chaz needs to be careful. Cleanse used there. They can still control the jungle if they would like and go for picks, use that Morgana binding, or they could just go towards the Drake now and really force AV to come towards him. We'll see this fight again. Spell Shield gets used on Katsuri, so any avenue of attack that Lisa had is gone. He's just going to kick him away once that expires, actually. And then Croc, at the first thoughts here, like, oh, this could be really good for AV to turn around and get some kills, but the zone just goes in. The Q's too early there from Lisa. The Sonic Wave does not find the Lissandra that he was after. And then Tian just comes in and wipes the floor with him.
No cleanse for LeBlanc. Going to be a squishy target if she jumps in alone right now. Draku is deleted. The Drake is picked up. Soul Point is there. Avant forced to scurry away once again. They do pick up the red buff. Gunkrab gets that. Tien is on the hunt. Chase disengages over. He's looking for the kill. He finds it. Katsuri out of this situation. This is a last do or die moment for these boys. Can they find the kills they need? It's Croc to respond, taking out his jungler. Situation is scary right now. It's going to be a 3v3 coming into this one now, Rusty.
Chaz keeps pulling things out of situations where he has no right to do it. But he's making it work. Just sheer mechanics, sheer talent, keeping AV in this game. Chiefs get the Drake, however, they get the Soul. They still get the bot lane turret. Mid lane inhibitor already gone and bot lane exposed. They can reset very easily here. And once again, set up for the Baron. Like mentioned, the Chiefs don't need the Baron. But if they get it, it's that luxury that'll really secure the game for them. Lisa, of course, tries to get over the wall and steal it. He doesn't get the steal, though he gets into the pit in time. And then has to flash straight after. And right here, you're like, okay, this is great. No, this is actually horrible for the Chiefs as Chaz, once again, just pulls the rabbit out of the hat. Lisa kicking Tian in, making sure that second kill was secured as well. That's his job as a Lee Sin. You know that you're going to die, so you have to do the best that you can before that. Especially when you have no flash. And somehow, AV, only 7,000 gold down on what was a very consistent snowball going against them.
They're going even in these trades, and I'm sure they wish they could find more, but despite the deficit in gold, I'm sure they'll still be happy with this one. Can they find another kill right now as Appy engaged? He's got support from the rest of his team. There's the members of Chief split pushing right now, top and bot. Croc will disengage, buying time for that teleport to come in. Goes Golden.
He's got the ult on as well. Tian is hunting, see what he can get with this movement speed.
Going to burn out a flash as Chaz is forced to disengage away over towards that blue buff right now. Gunkrab burying and burning through that Featherstorm very early on.
Chaz is on a mystical journey to the other side of the map. He's put the fancy footwork on once again, trying to juke out his opponents. Blair's assuming he's in the tri-bush but doesn't want to commit to going over. They know he's here somewhere.
And it feels like, for me, Chiefs are just playing around, saying, look, we're going to burn summoners, we're going to burn ultimates, we're going to burn health pools to make it that much harder for you to put an Hail Mary attempt onto this Baron.
Well, Lisa's the one who has to put the Hail Mary in if he wants to try and steal it. It's gone already. No chance for him to get in. They didn't know how low it actually was. Now the Chiefs have got the Baron. They should be able to go for the bot lane inhibitor through the mid lane priority that those super minions are getting them. And that should just be too much control around the map for AV to deal with. The last time we said that, somehow they were able to pick that moment and get that kill. Chaz is still alive, but he's always the person to look at.
He's only just got full health right now as they look to set themselves up in this top side. Draku going to initiate with that slam dunk. Once again, he's got no boys in support. Lisa can't do much. He's on 1 and 5. He is having little to no impact at this stage on that Lee Sin. 2 kills picked up by the Chiefs as Tien leads the charge and Katsuri follows in quick pursuit. Popping the Blade of the Rune King, stealing that movement speed, picking up the kills as they get a triple. All the inhibitors will fall on down. The Nexus turrets are the focus. They're Baron inspired. And much like last time these two teams met, it was 29 minutes. It's going to be 29 minutes again as the Chiefs will take victory here.
Just a clinic put on by the Chiefs, an absolute slaughterhouse around the Rift. It was calm and collected in the early game. There was no way for AV to do a thing. Anytime that Lisa tried, he was immediately and promptly shut down by the swift collapse of all the Chiefs' comrades here. And well played from them in the end. There were some hiccups around bot lane, some individual moments here and there, some spots of kills coming back and forth. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs were having a laugh, they were having a good time, and they still get the expected result.
They find value, they find priority, they find the ability to win this game once again. It was the result you would have predicted, the result you would have expected, and it's the result that they, today, in week number 5, have delivered.
There are still some things to look at from the opposing side. As an example, Chaz still having pretty good games for himself. Lots of positives to take away for him, but AV, no chance to get the win.
Chiefs very happy with that performance, keeping themselves very high on that perch. And for Avant, once again, it's back to the drawing board. They've had these signs of life, this creativity, this almost dependence on a few of these players to really showcase how much of an impact they can bring to the team. And when that collapses, it seems to crumble in a very sad fashion, unfortunately for them. But that does it for this game. We're going to throw it back to Nick and Juves for the painting finale.
Finale? Well, it's not a finale just yet. We're making our way through. Juves?
I've covered mine for this because I need to apologize to the dude that I'm painting. Secondly, I need to have a go at Nick Boy because while I'm trying to create, firstly, I need to get into my zone. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm a player. I'm an artist. I got to get into the zone. The whole time you're laughing at me.
Yeah.
Of course, it's going to turn out like this. Of course. So firstly, I tried contouring his cheeks with the black because they're black here. But I accidentally circled off the head. So I can fix it.
Yeah.
But I know everyone in Twitch chat's just going to be like, real papega about it all. But it's fine. I'll fix it.
All right. Well,
You need to make the head a much bigger.
The head
like,
is
just
half-
restart the head.
The head is the
how do I
full
restart?
picture.
Like, as in, like, you just draw over it. So the head needs to be at least 3 times that big.
We've got Thean on the couch. What do you think of this?
Well, I have no idea what you guys are drawing, first of all.
See the pictures underneath?
Yeah.
That's what they're drawing. So he's drawing the PogChamp dude, and then he's drawing...
LinkedIn dude.
LinkedIn dude. Carl.
Keep in mind, the darkness of the cheek is coming in. I just haven't done it yet.
I think you need to work on like your, what do you call like 3D painting? Like when you paint in layers. So
Yep,
that's
layering.
yeah.
Layering.
Yeah, so the layering needs some work, but I'm happy to see Juves here. No, I'm surprised. I
Good
actually
to see you as well. Thanks for that.
That's a good
You didn't
pivot.
say that. Only he's the only one that said
I'm not
that.
happy to see you.
Everyone else
However,
was just like, oh, he's here again.
I am happy to see you, Thean. Another win for the boys. What is that, 9-0 now?
yeah, we haven't been counting, but I guess we're 9-0.
Oh, wow, haven't been counting. So talk to me through that game. You get Aatrox into set. That's seen as a 50-50 matchup, but you seem to have a
Right.
pretty easy time out of lane.
So Aatrox versus Set, I think that lane is like, it actually is a skill matchup. So Set early game, if you play really aggressively and you can like space all the Aatrox Q, because Aatrox Q is a mind game, then you can definitely come out on top. But like in the side lane, I think Aatrox gets perma prior after like one item, basically.
And that's exactly what happened. Then you guys just kind of went into this Chiefs full court press. However, this was the first game, maybe we've seen you guys like struggle to close out as quickly as you have for the rest of the season. You got the quickest average game time, like 27 minutes. I think this one went past 30. Couple of hiccups in the later mid game there.
Yeah, definitely. So Jonghyun, our jungler Croc, so he was playing the game and he went like after we finished the game, he's like, "Oh, sorry guys, I just really wanted to kill X person," and so that's the reason why you saw us fumble a bit, because like he just wanted to like kind of just like put them down even lower, or like just like really flex his weight.
Okay, so the bit of mental warfare going on there. Talking of which, tomorrow you guys play against Order, and it is the rematch of the Armored Sloth versus the Armored Titan. How are you feeling about that matchup?
I'm super excited to verse DOS again. Last time we versed, I think DOS was definitely not himself. So I want tomorrow DOS to come in like 110%. And like I think top lane should be like a pretty good match.
Okay, and I want to talk about you a little bit more. So you're this protege. Most of the last year, you're sitting at rank 1. You're grinding out solo queue. Then you get onto the Chiefs lineup. You become the 6th man. You sub in. You have a couple of games throughout the season, like dominant performances. You're this big carry player. Now you're becoming a well-rounded kind of journeyman player. How are you enjoying it? Because you are, like, top lane has always been incredibly shallow innos. And, like, you kind of give hope that there are top lane talents out there. How are you finding that kind of journey at the moment?
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of hate top lane meta right now. If you look at the top 3 champions right now, it's only Aatrox, Set, and Ornn.
Yeah.
And honestly, like if you don't first 3 any of these champions, you're kind of inting as a top laner. So like, obviously transitioning into a more well-rounded top laner is good for me in the long run. But like, I can tell you, I'm not having fun.
So you want the Riven, Camille, Fiora back?
Yeah, I like the game where like you can resort to basically really non-conventional top lane picks. So like Diana top, or like playing basically like major top. So
Yep.
I had a lot of fun with Soraka top actually.
Ooh,
so
really?
when I first saw Soraka top, I was actually kind of excited. I was hoping like, wow, I kind of want more picks like this, because Soraka top's counters are like the 80 carries top, which I personally enjoy as well.
Yep.
And I'm kind of sad to see tanks getting buffed, but what can you do?
Everyone's sad about tanks getting buffed. We are going to check back in with the painting. Thank you very much for joining us. You want to give Juves a hand? Do you want to paint anything?
Help
Or
me out, dude. Do the lips for me.
Yeah, just do something.
Yeah, do the lips for me because this isn't working out.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
All right.
I've got the colour
You
ready.
can join them over there. I said I refuse to touch any of their paintings because I'm an artiste. and
Jake,
this is
I'm
disgraceful.
making
Watch
it
the
real
Chiefs
pretty
jersey.
for you.
If you're gonna get paint anywhere, make sure it's not on the sponsors. Thank me later, boys.
So what I need you to do is just shape up the mouth somewhere in between the contoured cheekbones.
Right.
I think you need to make the face much bigger.
How do I do that?
So can I suggest? So look,
Can you do it?
So look, what we've got here is this picture is entirely the man's face.
Yeah.
So his mouth is at the bottom of the picture.
Yeah, yeah.
Your mouth, you're proposing to put the mouth in the middle.
Right.
You could put the mouth down there. You could just put black shadow hiding most of this.
Yes.
Or extend the skin color
Yes.
down here further, and then just put the shadows
just black
there.
it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the mouth needs to be there. Otherwise, you've made a pinhead that seems to be swallowed in the mouth of a bigger person,
Everyone-
which is the dark.
Everyone seems to be an expert on painting in this room.
Yeah, well,
Well, not everyone, clearly, because look what you've done.
We've done 2 paintings since you were
No,
here.
don't do the mouth then. You know what you can do?
What?
You can extend the painting.
What? It's gonna look like a platypus, man.
Dude, what does it look like
What-
now? It looks like a plate with 2 French fries. Like, anything is better than what's happening.
We're making it.
You got a short memory, dude. My Gragas was really good.
It's right there.
It's right there, and no, it's not.
That's not my one. We gave away my one.
We did. And it was our Gragas, buddy. Our Gragas.
Yeah,
So you can just extend, and we'll be back after this short break to see the results of Theon's work.
He jumps onto Chaz, he's looking for the kill. The Rift Herald is still getting rowdy, acting as a man, but Draku gets huge. He slam dunks hard, Claire flashes away. They're on the hunt, it's a 3v3 and it's soon to be a 4v3 as Katsuri's coming on in, but he might not even be able to pick up an assist nor a kill. No, he cannot, he is merely a spectator in this situation. Utilising that heal to try and stick around for a while. LeBlanc's going to get in there and find the first shutdown. Can they find a second? As Draco actually jukes himself. He flashes over not to land that haymaker. They find 2. Croc is low. He gets suppressed and slam dunked into 2. Draco needs backup. He's forced to disengage away. But Tien flashes in and he hits the ground hard. Tien is on the hunt. Chase disengages over. He's looking for the kill. He finds it. Katsuri out of this situation. This is the last do or die moment for these boys. Can they find the kills they need? It's Croc to respond, taking out his jungler. Once again, he's got no boys in support. Lisa can't do much. He's on 1 and 5. He is having little to no impact at this stage on that Lee Sin. 2 kills picked up by the Chiefs as Tien leads the charge and Katsuri follows in quick pursuit. Popping the blade of the Rune King, stealing that movement to be picking up the kills as they get a triple. It's going to be 29 minutes again as the Chiefs will take victory here.
Feeling the heat? Grab a pineapple or pineberry frozen Fanta mix at Macca's. With 36 flavours, it's the largest range in Australia. Grab one for only $1. A little goes a long way at Macca's.